So I haven't really heard a compelling reason, at least from the feminist viewpoint standpoint, as to why women shouldn't be drafted.
But why would you want women to be drafted is my question as a man.
For the sake of equality.
But wouldn't you want your country to like do good in war, not just for the sake of equality?
So if I make that same argument about like the workforce, would you call that a sexist statement?
With what exactly?
Would it be a sexist statement? I'm not arguing this, but the same argument you're making about, well, wouldn't you want the best for the war effort? Couldn't you just make that argument about the volunteer force? So women can't join the military. You could say about policemen, police officers, firefighters, etc.
I'm not really catching your drift.
You said
you don't want women,
so
you're trying to exclude women from other workforces is what you're asking me?
Well, you said, wouldn't you want the best people?
Yes, for the war, yeah. Because because like if we lose the war, is that not a big deal?
That'd be a big deal.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like, but let's put equality to the side in terms of the war, because the war is really going to affect all of society, not just man or woman.
But you could even draft women into positions of, for example, not frontline soldiers.
Cybersecurity.
Yeah, and if you can prove that those women are competent and they can do that, then yeah, go ahead.
That still wouldn't really be equality, but it would be closer.
It wouldn't, but that would be good, yeah.
It would be closer to equality.
Exactly.
And actually, most positions in the military are not frontline combat positions. So I wouldn't, so I'm just a little confused here.
What are you confused about if we just agreed on the same point? Just because I label myself as a feminist and I have the same opinion within this as someone who's not a feminist?
But it seems like when you want equality
only because
when
I've made that clear.
Women.
I've made that clear that I don't want it when it just suits women. I want it when it benefits society.
Well, so then you acknowledge...
Is that really hard to understand?
A little bit. So then you acknowledge that there's an inequality that's currently impacting men, because men are the only sex that are required to register for the selective service.
Yeah, that's an inequality in terms of, if one sex has to go to war,
so your solution then is to get rid of the draft?
My solution to that would just be, let's not go to fucking war.
Well,
that would make shit equal.
Yeah, war bad.
But obviously exactly, but since that's not a realistic thing that the U.S. will do, and that's why we're just continuing.
What if it has nothing to do with the U.S.? What if there's a belligerent force like China or Russia or something?
Okay, well, either way.
Beaten Cheeks donated $300. Here is a point. Feminism should have never been brought upon society by evil men pushing women to become babyless career boss B words. In the West now, what are women currently oppressed on? I'll wait.
Beaten, I'll ask that later. Are you... Okay. So assuming we can't get rid of war, assuming there had to be a draft...
Exactly.
Do you acknowledge the current inequality that exists?
Yes,
and shouldn't
you've asked me that question
but shouldn't
like 4
you,
times,
shouldn't you as a feminist be desirous of moving towards egalitarianism and equality?
Yeah, I've made that clear. No.
Can I ask it a different way?
Yeah.
What would a victory for the feminist movement look like, or your view of feminism? Like
what's my view of feminism?
Yes, or like what is an injustice or something wrong in America that you would like to see remedied or cured with your view of feminism?
Okay, I can get real specific with it. I work in the healthcare field, and I see a lot of inequality within that. So that's one way where I'm a feminist, where I can see, okay, women aren't being treated the best way within the healthcare field specifically. They don't have the same rights as a man does.
Wait, can you elaborate on that?
Do you mean patients or the
patients?
Employees?
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, can you elaborate what you mean? Like, what is the inequality?
Patient care. A man as a patient versus a woman as a patient, very different.
Can you articulate it a little further?
Women don't have the same care as a man.
Isn't it the case that women see doctors more frequently? They get more. They're more likely to go visit a doctor.
Yeah, that's 100% the case. But that's because they're not getting adequate care. That's why they have to keep seeing new specialists, new people.
Wait. I don't think that's the reason. I think women just tend to care about our bodies, and men only care when they're on their deathbed. That's like the typical reasoning.
Women, like for like Medi-Cal or whatever. Mm-hmm. I don't know what it's called.
The reimbursables for women are like 7 to 1.
They're more likely to use...
especially under 50 women.
But it's taken me like 6 months just to get a checkup. Like just
I don't think that's because you're
standard.
a woman, though.
You don't think so? Okay.
I think that... Why would it be because you're a woman?
I don't know. Maybe because women's healthcare is harder to get. I'm not sure. That's
so
just
you're talking
me
like your
shooting in the dark.
OBGYN? Or
No, just
we're-
primary care physician.
Why would
actually.
that? Why would that be? Because you're a woman, though.
It actually might be because I have shitty healthcare.
That
It also could be because we're just brought a couple million people from the third world into this country.
Yeah.
that
Kind
lot
of
of
creates long lines, but that's a separate issue.
Well, could you elaborate a little further on the healthcare thing, though?
Do you want me to just keep going, listing examples?
Well, you
of-
said women have, I don't know if you said
Like-
rights, like women have X that men don't.
Yeah, women are behind in the healthcare field, so that's something I would want to see women progress in.
Like in
That's-
nursing?
No, as a patient. I've made that clear.
Oh, as patients?
Yes.
How are they behind?
A woman doesn't get the same adequate care from her primary doctor, from her specialist, from whatever person that a man would, and that's been statistically proven.
I'll actually
I've
be-
been,
yeah.
I'm in the healthcare field. I see this firsthand. I'm told about this by my coworkers, by my actual patients, by the people I work with. So that's just my experience. So you asked me for a specific example about feminism, and that's what I gave you.
So what would solve that?
Honestly, I'm not an expert within the healthcare field to be able to say you need to do this, this, and that. But I just believe that there is something that could
Do
be
you,
done.
do you think
under-
that women sometimes might be overemphasizing a condition that might not be a big deal?
No, I don't think so. I mean, yeah, possibly person to person. There's many women who could do that. There's many men who would do that. How is that relevant?
No, because the survey you're citing is that women think they're not getting the care that they deserve, when I think they actually are, and then some. But you're right, men will not go to the doctor unless they're missing a limb, where a woman will call their doctor as soon as they have a sniffle or a sneeze or a cough. And so they engage in the healthcare system more often. So when you have more interactions and more touch points, you'll have more people who think that there's an injustice when there really isn't.
I see your point.
And you also, well, actually, here, we'll come back to that a little bit. I did also want to get an answer from you really quick on the draft thing, then we'll move it along to a different topic. You said you're a feminist, but not in favor of women being drafted. How do you reconcile that?
I mean, I think that there should definitely. I think there should be definitely things that are more, or I guess not more important, but like, I'm more for like, if I'm working a job in a lab and a man is working a job in the same lab and we're doing the same things, then we should be getting equal pay. But
What if you work harder than him? Should you get more money?
well, what do you mean like work harder?
Put in
Like,
more hours, show up earlier?
I mean, wouldn't I?
What if you're better than him?
Then they would probably recognize the hard work that.
But I
I
thought you
put
said
in.
equal pay.
I mean, I think it would depend on like your lab position and like how high.
But you
up
have the same
are.
title. Do you want it to be based on merit or just equality no matter what?
I mean, I guess like if you are working harder, then I feel like you should get paid more regardless if you're a man or a woman.
So men are more likely to show up early at work. They're more likely to not take 7 to 10 years off for having a child, whether you like that or not. More likely to ask for a promotion, more likely to ask for a raise. They're also more likely to get their boss to notice their hard work. They're better at that than women. So maybe it's not that women are getting paid less than men. Maybe just men are better at working the corporate system than women.
Well, then if that's the case, then I guess that's something we need to work on.
Wait, I have a question. Well, you didn't really answer the question, but you did bring up the wage gap there a little bit. So the question was about the draft, though, because you said you were a feminist, but you're not in favor of women being conscripted into forced military conscription. So, like, just how do you reconcile that?
Well, I think they brought up a good point about how, like, biologically, women are not as physically strong as, like, men. And I don't understand, like, or I guess, like, they do bring
Right.
up a point, like, how would it benefit, like, the United States if we're putting more women onto, like, the military if we're not putting, like, the strongest, like, people out?
Well, if they're not benefiting, then why would we allow women to volunteer?
I mean, but that's like what, I mean, that's what they want to do with their time. It's better than not having any volunteers.
Do you guys think the military would be better if women weren't in it? If it was just men, hardcore men that want to win for the country? You know women better than I do.
No women.
Do you think the American military was a better fighting force when women were not in it?
I think they're a lot more aggressive, a lot more assertive. I mean, there's I don't want to sound like I'm hating on women, but I just think guys, when they're, especially in a war, I mean, they're
it's
out there
primal.
they're wanting to be out there fighting for their country. Women, that's not our
Wait,
instinct.
Charlie, what was your original question? So, would the U.S. military be better if it was just men? Is that kind
Yes,
of the
and I
question?
say this for a group of women who know female nature very well. You know your friend's female nature. If you're trying to create a fighting force to defeat the Russians, defeat the Chinese, and all these stupid wars, I agree with you. But if you want a good military, should women be in the military at all?
Let's get everybody's answer on this. Go ahead.
If you want the best military, not an equal one.
Just men. Just men.
I mean, but women are such good FBI agents. Like, we're just naturally good at.
Not private investigators, because women are the best at finding out that your boyfriend's cheating on you.
Exactly.
But
Thank you,
we're
Dozer.
not talking about that. We're talking about
So, how do we decode, like.
Just answer
you
the
know,
question.
No, no. We're talking about storming Normandy, defeating the Nazis, winning a war.
I mean,
The
when you.
Kazakhstans.
Oh, gosh.
The Kazakhs,
Not-
The Kazakhs.
they actually had women in the military in the Soviet Union, but that's a separate issue. But
Yeah.
Go ahead.
For the sake of argument, no. No women.
Maybe no, but also make sure that every single man that is in there also is up to par.
Competent.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think if the men are really passionate about it, then no women.
Okay.
I don't want a world where people are barred from much.
Okay.
No.
No?
No.
I don't know if you guys even remember the question. I don't know.
I'm trying my best here to kind of like